Guys, we're set. We're all set. Everything's fixed. We're ready to go. Everything's been handled. No problems. Let's just give everybody a couple of minutes to get in here, and we'll get right back to work. Oh, God, Daddy. Oh. Okay, guys. Here we go. Sorry about that. I'm back. We're all set. No more closing. No more closing. No more restarting. I got it all fixed up. Oh, Jesus. Okay. We're going to wait just a couple minutes. Let's talk about everybody's day, about everyone's day. How's your day going? I hope you're all looking sexy today. Like a bunch of sexy teens. Bunch of sexy teens. I'm a sexy teen! We're fine. Everything's in good shape. Took me a while to get it all straightened out, but I think we're okay. We're in good shape. Excellent shape. Need to get a couple of materials here. Okay, guys, we're ready to go. I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready to be touched. Touched by an angel. There we go. Okay, guys, so here we are. Everyone's coming in. Any chance of doing a DC HDMI and GDEMU install? Horny Devil, I have a whole video dedicated to that. All you have to do is go watch it on my YouTube. Let's see. Alright, let's just get this ready to rock. Oh, God, no, Daddy. Don't do it this time. Don't! Okay. Thank you very much for the subscription, my friend. Thank you for 6 months, too. God bless your heart. Alright, guys. Let's get started. So, how many of you have seen me do an xStation installation on a PlayStation 1? How many here? Just a show of virtual hands. I'm just curious. Nobody's okay. You've seen me do one? Not yet. Okay. You've seen it. Voltar, keep up the great work. Always enjoy your streams. No, thank you, Sinred Zone. You keep up the good work. Oh my God, we got a host. Somebody's hosting. Thank you very much, Sunny Machine, for that. Well, what we're going to do today, guys, is quite simple. This is just a little last-minute stream. We're going to be installing the xStation module. Oh, wow. Thank you, Genova. Thank you very much. We'll be installing the xStation into this PU18, otherwise known as a 5501 series PlayStation. And I'll be showing you some techniques that I've used over the years. I've been working with this system for 25 years now as a champion. In subsequent streams, I've shown you the art of the X-Acto knife. Good tool, but I've also shown you guys how to use this beautiful dental pick. Now, this is the ideal tool of choice, and we're going to be using this to lift those pins on the digital signal processor that we have to manipulate. Because the idea, of course, is that we're taking the optical drive off of the bus, but we're also going to need the xStation to intercept information to and from the subsystems here onto the bus. So this is like an intermediary. It's not necessarily it's not an optical drive emulator. It's an optical drive replacement. That's a more appropriate phrasing for this. So we'll be installing this, and with this beautiful USB 2, we'll be putting this in like a real man or a real woman, whatever you prefer. It doesn't make any difference to me whatsoever. I'm just proud and happy to have you guys here. Okay, so are we ready to get started? Do I need to answer any questions? Is there anything you'd like me to answer before we dig into this bad boy? Let me know now, please. Oh my God. James Ross, thank you for your super chat. NYPD announced it was a male Shetland pony with minor... Oh, God. God damn you, Bob! I told you, leave the thoroughbreds alone! Okay, guys. Let's just get to it, okay? Let's just get to it. Let's get down with it. Let's get horny. I mean, let's not get horny, but yes, let's get horny. Let me fix my camera up just a bit. That's it. Okay, that's a pretty good overhead shot. Let's just go ahead and dress this thing down. And let's get started. This shouldn't take us but maybe 30 minutes. Let's do it. Ooh. What do you tonight? Ooh, daddy, here we go. And am I in the frames? Kind of, sort of. Not really? There we go. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Rotate around. Rotate around. All it takes. Okay, let's just move all of our screws and keep them organized. Right over here. Perfect. Alright, now the top comes off. We'll remove the CD lens assembly. Thank you very much for the subscription, Thiago. Very, very much so. Appreciate that. Okay, so the assembly comes out of place. I'm going to turn those off. I'm sorry, guys. They're just annoying as fuck. I appreciate all the subscribes and all the fun and all the good times, but, you know, I've got to tell you, it's just distracting. I appreciate that, though. Thank you. Okay, so look, we're going to de-energize the power supply. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to remove this top shield here. This plate has to come off, so I'm just going to zip this out. Quick jiff it in a hurry. Oops. Trying to be mindful of the camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. Just popping these screws out. There's just 4. There are just 4 screws that hold that in. Now I'm just going to very carefully work in a corner. Whenever you remove this top shield, try to use some finesse. Or this top shield, rather. Work in a corner. And just sort of flap it up like that a little bit, and come to the side, flap it up a little bit, come to another corner, flap it up a little bit. You don't want to rip this thing out of here. You want to be as careful as you can be, trust me. Okay. Okay, that looks fantastic. I'm just going to move all of our screws way over here, and we're going to finish this off by just taking the whole main board out. So we're going to come right in here, and there's just a few screws we have to drive out to liberate the main board. Sorry if I bumped the camera a bit here. Let me just quickly put these out. Okay, that's all it's going to take. Oh, thank you very much. Let's see. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. The main board should just come right out, just like that. Okay, we can set this to the side. Here we have it. Now, would you guys like me to first zoom in and lift the pins, or would you like to see me install do the solder for the QSB first? I'll leave it up to you. What would you like to see first? What would you like to see? Okay, that's 1 vote for the QSB. Anybody else? Excuse me, have any input? Okay, we're going to start with the QSB. We're going to start with it. Let me just move my facilities down here just a bit. There we have it. Okay, okay. That's pretty good. Now that should be a pretty good... There we have it. Yep, okay, that's going to work just fine. Now the QSB is very simple. There's just a few little bits of prep work that we really have to do. And I'm going to show you that right now. Okay. I want to take the shine off of this. Don't worry, it's not going to look like this while we're working on it. I just need to find a little part to help me do that. Well, here we go. This is fine. This will be just fine. Okay, we'll take the shine off just like that. Now, the QSB lives right in here. It lives in the bottom left-hand corner of the board, actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to line this up so that we can see that and we can visualize this properly. Now, what I like to do is I'll just... very briefly, very quickly, sort of just put this in place. And there's a few little points that we need to... There's really 2 points. There are 2 points that we need to work on. There are 2 vias that have a varnish lacquer layer. Not just solder resist, but there's actually coating. an acrylic coating that we have to break through. So I'm going to zoom in here just a bit, and I'm going to show you those. Now, one of them is right here. Right here. And there's a couple of ways you can remove this coating. It's very simple. It's nothing that anybody should worry about. It doesn't take any time. But we have this via here, and I'm going to try to tighten up on this just a little bit more. Ooh, that's pretty tight. Now, I hope you guys can see this. I'm using my super macro penis pumps. But we have this via. I'm going to sort of put this back in position, but as you can see right here. Now, if we don't do any prep work to this via and we just go in to solder this, we're never going to collect or wick any solder onto this plated via here because there's one solder resist, and you can even see it almost looks like a braille type texture. There's also this an acrylic varnish. 2. We have to break through that. So you've got a couple of things to do. What I like to do is I'll just take one of my used old crummy X-Acto knives. Now check this out. I'm just going to come right in here. I'm just going to hold it flat. I'm going to be very careful. I'm just going to look here, look at my work, look at what I'm doing. I'm just going to start scratching. Very gently, very gently, very gently. Nice and easy. Okay? Take your time. Nice, smooth, even circular motions. And we're just going to remove both the solder resist, or the solder mask, and that lacquered varnish. And you know you've done a pretty good job when you get nice, shiny copper, just like that. And to finish that off, what you can do is you can just take and spritz a little alcohol on there, just like that. And it's quite telling. It'll tell you how good of a job you've done, but I take it one step further. I sort of remove any of the debris by just taking a fiberglass brush, coming right in there like that, cleaning that off. And you have now a beautiful prepped pin, prepped via, solder resist is removed, the acrylic coating, the varnish lacquer is removed. You're good to go. So we're gonna move away from that spot, and we're gonna come over to the other via. There's just 2 of these on the PU18, fortunately, that we really have to worry about. It's right over here. Now here is our little anchor point, just like that. I'm gonna come bring your attention right down here. See that little jewel right there? Right here. Once again, we have to prep this pin. If we don't, it's going to be a nightmare. So let's just move this to the side. Just like that. We're going to center this in frame. Just like that. Okay. By the way, guys, if you haven't, retweet this stream. Let your friends know what I'm doing today. Let them come watch, too. Everybody wants to always watch, and I rarely do these anymore. So when I do, I try to get as many people as I can, you know, sexualized. At any rate, let's keep going. Oh. Now what we're going to do is the same thing that we did before. We're going to apply our X-Acto knife into place. We're going to put it right over our little site here. We're just going to very lightly, little circular motions, no force. You're not using any force. You're just lightly scratching. You're lightly scratching. I'm just going to come right in here. I'm just going to start scratching this up. Scratching this up. We don't want to damage the via. We just want to remove the protective layers. Now, I feel like that's a pretty darn good job. Looks kind of crummy. Let's remove the debris, and let's investigate and inspect this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to take I'm going to take my fiberglass brush, and I'm just going to finish this off. Just like that. Whoa, sorry about that, guys. We went all over the place. Perfectly fine. Looks absolutely perfect. No worries, no problems. Okay, those are the 2 really important bits of prep work that you need to do for the QSB. Now let's zoom this out just a bit. We're going to talk about lining this up. So here we are. We've zoomed out here just a bit. And I'm just going to sort of put this in the corner because I want to make sure everything is caught and captured. There might be a little bit cut off here to the right, but just bear with me. I'll pan the camera around. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our QSB, and I'm going to first line up the edges. Always start with one of the corners. Because keep in mind, even though these things are printed professionally, or they're fabricated professionally, and I'm putting this on backwards, there aren't really tight tolerances with these QSBs. They're never going to be the same. So what we're going to do is we're going to start right up here in this top corner. And we're just going to sort of put that in position. And when we have that in pretty good position, we're going to investigate everything else. Now, here's the via that we sort of debrised and we cleaned out. And we're just going to start rotating this just a bit. We're just going to start paying attention. And we're going to pay attention over here. See the alignment over here, too? It's all about averaging everything. Listen, you're never going to get this precise, but average it out and get it as best as you can. You don't have to be super, super, super dead on. You just got to be really close. Now, that all looks pretty good to me. That looks pretty good to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold my finger right here. I want to come over to this side. I want to sort of check out what's going on over here. Now, I need to do the same thing over here. So I'm just going to sort of line it up just like that. With my hand over here, just like that. I'm just going to sort of take the corners, and I'm just going to align them in position. And when I do that, I'm going to also keep in mind that we have all these up here and around here that we have to keep in line. Now, to me, that looks pretty gosh darn good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a spot. I'm going to zoom in here nice and tight, like a vagina, like a nice and tight, vaginal cavity. We're going to zoom in really nice, okay? I'm going to come right in here, and I'm going to pick this up, and I'm going to do a slight and subtle shift to the right. Whoa, maybe too much right there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take some no-clean flux. I'm going to pick this V. I'm going to pick on it for just a minute. I'm going to take my solder, which is right up here, and I'm going to take my other hand. I'm going to hold this with one hand. As you see, I'm holding this with one hand. I'm going to take my other hand, and I'm going to grab my soldering iron. Just like this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up my tip with solder. Load it up, load it up, load it up. This is a contacting technique. Okay, now there's our via. Watch this. We're going to spot this in. This isn't to be permanent, and this isn't to be pretty. This is just to hold this little girl into place, just like that. Now, that looks quite good. Now, I can let this go. I can let it go. I can let it go. And what this is going to allow me to do is, A, it's going to free up both of my hands so I can manipulate this part. But what's the most critical thing about this is just posting up one corner before you start soldering everything. This gives me about 6 to 7 degrees of rotation. I can pivot this part. What does that mean? That means I can grab this on the corner and watch. If I need to move this up just a bit, I can move it up just a bit. If I need to move it down just a bit, I can move it down just a bit. So you have some rotation here that you can work with. And that's very important. So we're going to come down the line here, and I'm just going to start looking at everything and sort of seeing what do we need to do. Now, that looks pretty good to me. That looks pretty good to me. So we're going to zoom in here, and I'm just going to take a look at everything. Remember, you're never going to get it precise, but you can get it pretty darn accurate. And that's what matters, is just being accurate, being as accurate as you can be. Now, those are off. Those are shifted just a bit. So what I might even do is I might come back here. I might just grab this, and I might just move it just a bit. I might recognize that it needs to be moved just a bit, so I'm going to float this out. Now watch this. Look, just a millimeter. Just a millimeter. Not even a fraction of a millimeter. I'd say that was probably 1/4 of a millimeter. Now we're going to come back, and we're going to look. Looks a lot nicer. Alignment looks good here. Look, alignment looks perfect there. Okay? Alignment is good enough there. And alignment, yeah, is just fine there. So, always start with one corner and work with one corner before you start throwing solder on all these little spots on your QSV. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at everything. Everything looks pretty goddamn good here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to the edge like this. And I'm just going to take that same iron and I'm going to pick a spot in the middle. Everything here looks pretty good. I'm just going to pick a spot in the middle just like this. Just like that. I'm going to do a little contacting technique just like this. I'm going to float some nasty old solder right in there. Doesn't have to be pretty. I need some flux. Doesn't have to be pretty. That's not the point. We're just tacking this in. And I'm taking my time because I really want to show you guys what this is about. Just like that. Perfect. It's just held in place. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. We're just holding it in place. Now, I have all my hands free. I can sort of take a look and manipulate if necessary. Fine. That can be moved up. That's fine. No worries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting this in place. I might just move this up just maybe a little bit of a millimeter. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's perfectly fine. We're good to go. Perfectly fine. Good alignment, good alignment, good alignment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of tilt this up so you guys can see what's going on. And I want to start soldering this bad boy. Actually, I might do it in this direction so you can see the wetting. That's pretty good. Okay. Now we're off to the corner just a little bit, but that's perfectly fine. That's not a big deal. I'm going to bring this in just like this. That's good. Okay, so let's just start putting our love juices all over this. I'm going to bring my solder over here, and we're just going to start soldering this QSB right into place. like a real man would. So here we go. Be very generous. And look at all that bridging. Check this out. I'm so scared that I just did that. Watch this, guys. Let me show you something. Oh my god, I've just screwed this chip up. Oh my Jesus. We're going to talk about clearing bridges here in just a second. I did that on purpose. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to start making nice joints, and we're going to start cleaning this up. So let's get to it. Let's clean, clean, clean. Beautiful. Come right in here. We've got a little joint here we need to work with. Beautiful. Okay, let's get this one here that we were trying to get to, but we were making a mess. Let me clean my tip off just a bit. I think I might have made a little more mess than I meant to. Give me just a second here. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. Had to be able to see that. Okay, so here's our little joints. We've got that huge solder bridge there. All those pins have been bridged over. That's perfectly fine. We can fix that up. Not a big deal. I'll show you guys how to do that in just a second. Nice, smooth, round, shiny balls. That's what I want you to have. That's what I want you to be producing here for me. Nice, round, shiny ball sacks. We're just going to take a bunch of solder and we're just going to float that across like that. Okay, perfect. And if you noticed just a second ago when I was doing that, I actually removed a little 0805 capacitor. I did that on purpose too, because I want to show you guys how you can fix things if you break them. If you make bridges, or if you actually float parts off the board, not a big deal. There's not a lot of point. Well, let me say it this way. There's just not a lot of value. Let me turn this board around too now that we're doing it this way. There's not a lot of value in showing you guys every day how to do things without ever showing you how to also do things when they don't work out or when you make a mistake. So I've been really kind of trying to do that lately. Especially when I stream, I'm trying to... Here we go, here's one more. I'm trying to put in some education in terms of concerning how you clean things up. I bridge things. I floated a surface mount part off. How do I fix that? Well, I'm being kind of sloppy for a reason, because you guys are probably going to be pretty sloppy. It's your first time doing this. Maybe you don't have a lot of experience. That's great. That's the whole point of this. I'm not interested in showing everybody perfection all the time. Now watch this. I'm just going to take some flux here and watch this. I'm just going to float across this like this. All that solder, I don't care. Look at that. Beautiful joints. Gorgeous. 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 No problems. No problems. No problems. No problems. Ooh, that's a big problem. We're going to fix that up in just a second. Okay, one little spot left right up here, and I think we're in good shape. So let's just bring this right in here. Perfect. That's all it takes. It's not a big deal. So, let's go back to our little part here, because I put it to the side. Where are my tweezers? My masturbatory tweezers. Here we go. Now we're going to come right back to this little site right here. Now look at this mess we made. Who's freaking out about this? Also, you guys didn't notice, that's a surface mount capacitor. We worked it off the board. We're going to work that back on. Who can tell me where this came off at? Can anybody? We'll talk about that in a moment. But the first thing we need to address is, look at this. We have bridged every goddamn pin on this goddamn chip. How do we fix that? Well, I want to show you right now. I don't have any wick. I've got some ribbon wire, but I don't have any wick. Now, this is a trick I know, I understand, I've shown quite a bit in the past. But I think there's value to showing this off, so I'm going to show it again. So when somebody like... runs into a problem and they don't think they have the tools, maybe they do have the tools, they just need to put them together first. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take like a 4 run of ribbon cable here. That's what we got, like 4 conductors, right? Watch this. I'm going to start stripping in the center. This is maybe, I don't know, 4 inches. 4 inches of cable. I'm going to grab about 2.5 inches in the middle, so we're in the center of the cable, approximately. Watch this. I'm going to start stripping this. Now what we're going to do is we've got a break here. So what I want to do is I want to start separating this. Oh, hold on just a second, guys. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Give me just a second. I'm sorry. 1 second. Just a second. I gotta check something. I've totally forgot about this. This will literally take me just 2 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, Matthew Hervea says, I am an amateur and I solder better and faster than this. Well, Matthew, the idea right now isn't to be a super professionally awesome, super clean solderer. The idea is to try to teach people who aren't super class, high-pollutant solderers how they can correct certain mistakes and traps that they fall into. That's why I'm deliberately doing this. If you want to be a little cunt about it, Matthew, I'll just block you from my life altogether, and then you'll cry about it, because then you won't have anybody to armchair engineer over. What do you think about that, Matt? What do you think about that? Matthew, nobody's here to listen to your commentary. Nobody cares about you here. This isn't about what you can do and what you can't do. This is about what other people can do and can't do. My goal is not to be flawless every time. I mean, Jesus, Matthew, go fuck yourself. Pussy. Okay, anyways. Listen, guys. We have a weave here of... You don't have any solder wick, but you have some ribbon cable. We cut some off. I've made a nice weave, a nice tight weave, just by rotating it. Just by rotating it. Now take your favorite jelly fluxes, okay? Right in here. Now you've got a nice flux content. So how are we going to clear this? Now watch this. I want to take our little created flux. I want to take our little created wick here. This is what we're doing. This is just a makeshift wick. Now watch this. I want to take a nice clean tip, and I'm going to zoom in really tight on this. Oops, wrong way. Okay, here we go. Watch this. Is this close in? Is this deep enough? Can you guys see this? I just want to know before I start this. Is this okay? Pretty close? Okay, so here we have our tip. We have our tip. We're going to put it in position, and we have our makeshift wick positioned right over all of this bridging. Now, you might not get all this in one pass, but that's quite all right. I want to position my tip right in the center. And I'm going to put the belly of my J-Series tip here right in the center, just like this. And we're going to wait just a couple of seconds. Wait just a second. And we're going to start wicking this up beautifully. Now, what I'm going to do with my hand is I'm just going to gently move this across. Just like that. Just like that. Now, you may have a little residual solder left. That's perfectly fine. Just take your tip, clean it thoroughly, and you're going to do some sweeping right across these pins. Now watch this. Oh, I didn't clean my tip well enough. I'll shoot some no clean on there just for good measure. Okay, your tip's nice and clean. You're just going to rake this across just like this. Watch. Just like that. Just like that. And if that doesn't look super clean to you because we have a bunch of oxidized flux, watch this. Check this out. That's all it takes. Now, you could just use flux. You just use your wick and flux and wick it off. Not everybody in a pinch has flux like that, or not everybody has a goot wick or a nice desoldering braid. I'm just showing you guys how you can take literally a 2-cent piece of conductor and a little flux that you have around the house, and you can make tools out of just common pieces of equipment. That's the whole point. Let me zoom out just a bit so you guys can see this. You know, hold on just a second. Give me just a second, guys. I'm sorry. I have to check something else. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. I had to block Matthew from all media because he's a cock. If anybody sees Matthew trolling the chats again with some sort of pseudonym, just feel free, my admins, to block him because there's no reason to be such a little cock about things. We're just trying to teach people some good stuff here, okay? We don't need your... We don't want to ask for your commentaries. Okay, so we've got that all set. Now we're just going to take... and we're going to make sure that that little pin right there is in good shape. Matthew's just stating the obvious. Matthew, you're just a cocksucker. I hate to tell you that. But not that there's anything wrong with sucking cock. But you're just... You are... I will not tolerate your buffoonery. Ooh, look at that bridge. We did it again. Perfect. Now here's another technique that I always like to talk about. What if you don't have any wick, but you have a small... Where's my hand? But you have a small, modest bridge. Something like this. Do you have to have wick? Not at all. Not necessarily. What you need is some flux, and you need a nice, clean tip. So here we've got some flux. We've cleaned our tip really nice, and we're just going to do a dragging technique, and we're going to start redistributing this solder to all of the adjacent pins, and also we're just going to try to pick up the excess on our tip here. So watch this. We're going to move this across just like this. Okay, just like that. Now we're pretty close to clearing this. We're pretty darn close to clearing this bridge. We're going to apply a little more flux. If you don't have any wick, don't worry about it. Because let me tell you guys something. I get so many emails and I have fixed so many systems from people who were like, listen, I was doing great, but then I made a bridge and I fucked everything up and I couldn't recover it. I didn't have any wick and I didn't know what to do. You don't need wick. Most of the time, unless you put an extreme excess amount of solder onto your part, you don't need wick. You can collect that solder back onto your tip and you can redistribute the other excess bit of solder with some flux to the adjacent pins. Also, let's see. Yeah, the lesson of the day really is don't be a Matthew. Don't be a Matthew. Matthew's like the biggest douchebag in the world. Is he? Did I ban him from YouTube? Is he still able to comment here? I'm just curious. The dude is just that's so gross to kind of showboat like that. Okay, at any rate, Matthew's a little bitch. We know that. Let's move on. What do we need to do? Matthew is like the ultimate Karen. Oh, he's still in here? Can somebody, like, ban him? I don't know how to do that. Yeah, I mean, okay, okay, let me just make a poll. Should we ban Matthew or should we not? Yes for yes, no for no. I'll let the people decide. Okay, we're not going to continue until we get all the votes in. So I want at least 30 more votes. No, okay, yep, looks good. Maybe, okay, Brian, that's reasonable. MTB says no. Yes, yes, yes. Off. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay, it looks like so it looks like we need to it looks like we need to remove him. Okay, let's remove him. Let's do it. Matthew, you're getting removed. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jeff, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'm going to give... Okay, guys, we're going to get right back started. You know what I need to do? Guys, I need to do something really quick, and this is a really good example. Mr. Pete, you are now a moderator. Let's see who else is a moderator. I'm going to create... I don't have any YouTube moderators. Let's see. I need to create some... I just want to put some moderators on here because you know what? I don't like the trolling stuff, guys. I just don't. Oh, okay. Rock Solid Production. Thank you, Rock Solid. Thank you, Gary. Gary! Okay. Thank you. We can get back to work. Thank you very much. Fuck that guy. All right, let's continue. So, we have to remove, or we have to only touch ourselves to pictures of dogs. Now, okay. Was that pretty decent instruction on clearing bridges with when applying excess solder to sites? Was that decent? You guys feel like was that good? I showed you a makeshift wicking technique and I showed you a simple dragging technique. Was that decent? Okay, because I really like to do this stuff, and I really like to sometimes deliberately do things because you guys aren't going to do this perfect the first time. Now, the only thing left to do is we need to reconstitute that little surface mount resistor. I get so many emails. Voltar, I was working on a Super Nintendo and I accidentally knocked a resistor off when installing an RGB mod, but it was a surface mount resistor and I don't think I can get it back. Let's do that. So let's see, where's let's go back. Now, I'm totally lost. It was right under... Okay, where was it, guys? Now, I forgot. And in the midst of all this excitement, I forgot. Where do we put that bad boy back? I really forgot. Was it down here? Oh boy, I might have to review. Oh wait, here it is. Yeah, that's right. It was right here, right? Right here? It's a little decoupling cap right there, right? I can see the pads. Okay, not a big deal. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this to the side. I lost my bearings. Okay, where are we? There we are. Okay, now we got a little bridging there too, but here's the site. This is an 0805 resistor, and I want to show you guys how to fix this up real quick in a jiffy. First thing I want to do is I'm just going to apply some flux, and I want to clean up our little spot here because we have some solder burrs. So I'm just going to come right in here and sort of touch that up like that. Perfect. Not a big deal. Now, the 0805 area is already tinned up for us, and that's going to be right in here. So what I'm going to do is very simple. I'm going to first take my little capacitor, my little 0805 cap. I'm going to grab it. Okay. I'm going to very, very innocently drop this into position, just like so. It's nowhere near where it's supposed to be. But I'm going to flux this up, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to zoom in a little tighter. Now, I really want you guys to sort of understand how small this is. These are super, super, super tiny parts. And also, I said this is a capacitor. This is a non-polarized ceramic capacitor, so there is no polarity to get confused. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clean tip, and I mean I've got a super clean tip. I'm just going to move this part into place. Just like this. And I'm going to grab an edge. Watch. I'm just going to grab an edge. Make sure it's nice and flat to the board. Just like that. I can move this a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. Okay, just like that. We've got our other side right over here. You don't need to worry about anything. The only thing you need to do is come on the other side of it. Watch this. Solder it in just like that. All set. Now, if you want to clean that up to inspect your work, just spritz it with a little alcohol there or some 90% IPA, whatever you like to use. Clean it up. Good as new. That's how you handle surface mount. Everybody wants to sort of do both pads at once. No, 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 no. Drop the part in, and only grab one side, and start with one side, just like that. Then when you have it locked in, go to the other side. Okay. Here we go. Now, we spent a lot of time on this QSB, but I think that was good because we really worked on some things that I usually zip right through these really fast. And I feel like I'm going too fast, and I'm just making it like showboating my penis pump skills. That's getting away from what I want to do. I want to show you guys real scenarios that you're going to find as a new player to the game of soldering. And I'm just trying to replicate some of the problems that people have had in the past. So now I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to investigate. We're going to look at everything. Okay? Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Nice shiny joints. Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Excellent. Everything looks just fine. Everything looks just fine. Now, there's only one thing remaining as far as the QSB is concerned. We have to remove this little resistor right here. 221. I think this is a 220 ohm resistor. A lot of people are like, do I need a hot air gun to rework surface mount resistors or components off the board? No, you don't. You don't. Absolutely not, under no circumstances. For 0805 stuff, no way. Take your tip and just flood it with solder. Flood the site with solder, and just like that, part comes off seamlessly. Not a big deal. Now I want to come in here and I want to just sort of pre-tin this little pad because that's where we'll be soldering to. And I need a conductor because we have to solder from that point all the way over here, whoops, to this phase lock loop pad right over here. Okay, so we're going to move this back so you guys can see this. There's our little tiny solder, our little tiny itty bitty solder pad that we have to connect to. Let me grab a little bit of a conductor here. Okay. Oh, give me just a second. This could be my mom. Hold on, guys, just a second. Really. Gives me just a second here. Let me just make sure everything's going okay over there. It's been terrible. I don't know how the weather's been in the rest of the world, but here where I'm from, it's been miserable. Guys, give me just a second. My mom just sent me a message. I'm so sorry about this. Give me just one moment. Okay. Everything's fine. Now, we're going to strip some conductor right off here. We're going to pre-tin that conductor, and we're going to just strip this down thin. Nice and easy. Now we have a nice little trimmed conductor. Keep your conductors at approximately 1 millimeter in length or less as far as exposed goes. Now we're going to start doing some actual proper good technique. So we have got our conductor here, and as you can see by the conductor length, it's about the same length as the actual diameter of the site that we're working with. That's what's ideal. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to solder it in just like that. Nice contacting technique, and we're going to bring this all the way over to the side. Oh, and I also just got messaged by somebody. Evidently, Matthew has taken to Twitter because he is upset that I said cocksucker and some other things to him because he was trying to be polite and telling me that my technique was terrible. When this is what's wrong with mental illness. The exercise wasn't had anything to do with proper technique. I was soldering. Let me just tin this up. The objective was an attempt to try to replicate a lot of the problems that people run into, and when I was trying to replicate common scenarios that people who don't have a lot of experience run into. So we created some bridging, and we did some other things very frivolously to do that. And that's a perfectly well wetted joint. And that's a perfectly well wetted joint. But the objective was to replicate some of the poorer practices and showing you some techniques that you can employ with makeshift tools to make that, to lessen the effects of bad technique. You can't ever get totally over bad technique, but there are some things you can do to sort of mitigate and improve the output or the quality, even when your technique isn't so good. And so coming into my stream and talking about how you're an amateur and you're soldering so much better and you know, just use flux and, you know, use a wick and flux, that's not the point. I know all that. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that who solders anything. It's like you're just making yourself look like an ass, and that absolutely infuriates me to no end. You know, it just upsets me. Speed up, you're so slow. Really? I know. But the idea, though, is if you don't have braid, a lot of people, believe it or not, when they embark on these projects, they have plenty of wire, but they don't have any braid. What do you do? That's the whole point. I'm sorry if I took too much time on that. I think the ban's going to be indefinite. I don't like people who try to do that stuff. I just don't appreciate that in any respect. There's just no room for that here. Period. Period. Okay, guys. It's time for the pin removal processes. So what I like to use is a good old-fashioned dental pick. If you don't have you can use an X-Acto knife, but an X-Acto knife exerts a lot of lateral forces. But a dental pick is really ideal. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our dental pick and we're just going to position. Now, I don't have a microscope or anything like that, but I'm going to take it, I'm going to position it right under the pin, just like this. And I'm going to apply heat, not to the pin, but to the pad. Now watch this. Heat to the pad, just like this. We're going to get right under there in the center. Watch this. We're just going to lift and we're going to flick right up. Just like that. Don't mind the little solar splash. That's not a terribly big deal. We're going to move that to the side. Now this customer never wants to ever use an optical drive again. So in that case, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this pin right here and I'm going to bend it back and forth. I'm going to bend it back and forth until the metal fatigues. We're just going to break it off. We're going to break it off because there's absolutely no reason to keep this here, because the customer will never, ever, 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 ever want to install a optical drive ever again. Okay, so let's see, 80, okay, 78 and 77. Guys, I did the wrong, I did the wrong chip. Okay. That actually was a mistake. I totally just did the wrong chip. I think I did the wrong chip. I did do the wrong chip. So now we get to do something even more fun, and that's pin repair. That's hilarious. We're actually supposed to be doing this bad boy right down here. But that's not a big deal. I can get in right in there, and I can fix that right up. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. I want to talk about that real quick. There are a couple of ways you can do this. Now there's plenty of pin exposed. There's enough pin exposed to where you could get a conductor in there and you could fix this right up. If there's enough pin exposed, you can just take some 30-aught conductor and you can fix it right up, no problem. Or you can, in fact, take a Dremel and you can recess this back by maybe 2 or 3 millimeters, and you can get right in there and you can also grab it that way. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to take a little conductor like this right here. Now watch this. Watch this. Not a big deal. That was a stupid mistake on my part. I was too flustered. Anywho, we're going to take this and I want to tin this up. I want to tin this little conductor up really nice with solder. I thought I was paying attention, but I really wasn't. I was getting lost in my thoughts. I was getting lost like a sweet baby. I was just, I was a little upset. And I wasn't thinking, but here's the deal. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. We can fix that right up. We've got a nice tinned conductor. Now what you can do is you got two options. Let me sort of put this in position here. Let me see if I can get a good angle of this, because this is really important. Because you may run into this too. Where's my hand? There's my hand. Okay. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit more. I think I can tighten this up just a bit more. Okay, perfect. Now, we have our conductor right here. Wait, what did I do with my little conductor? I'll tell you what we'll do. Give me just a second. I'll fix the angle. I'll fix the angle of the camera. Now that's pretty close. I think that's pretty close. I think you guys, can you guys see this okay? Is this visible? Okay, here we go. So the idea is we're just using a 30-ohm conductor, and we've pre-tinned it with solder already. And I'm just going to come in here with some flux, and you can see that nice thick layer of flux. Now the first thing that I want to do is I just want to come in here with my tip. By the way, I want my tip to be very heavily soiled with solder. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to come right in here, just like this, with a nice, tight, sexualized hand. And I'm going to come right in here, and I'm going to start putting this in place. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to butt this up against the part just like that. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to butt it up against the part, and I'm going to take the side of my tip, and I'm just going to start raking it across because we have plenty of copper here exposed on the pin that we shouldn't have to do any sort of retraction. Now, watch it, just like that. Okay, just like that. Now we've got the top. Let me just get the top in there a little more. Oh, this is a terrible camera angle because I just can't see anything. Okay, now we've got it on the pin. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, we've got it locked down onto the pad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to form this wire so that it butts up as plumb and as evenly as it can against the area where we bent that chip off. We bent that pin off. So what we're going to do is we're going to come right in here. I'm just going to bend it in just like that. Can you guys see what's going on here? You guys can see that, right? Now we've got that nice and butted up against our little part here. I want to do it just a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, that's what we have. Now we have that butted nice and cleanly against our little sight. And I just can't see too well. Let me try to use the camera a little bit here. I'm going to just sort of move this over. Keep going. Oh, go. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, can you guys see that? This is the really easy part. The only thing that we have to do now is we just have to make solid contact. Just like that. Just like that. I'm going to cut the top of this off, just like so. Okay. Now I'm going to look at this off camera for just a second. Don't need to use hot glue. Don't need to use anything like that. Let me look off camera just so I need to sort of visualize this and see this. Yep, looks fine. Okay, now I'm going to take a look. I'm going to put this back in frame so you guys can see this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove, if I can, some of that oxidized flux, just so you guys can see this a little more carefully, or a little more clearly. How about that? There is your repaired pin. Not a big deal. You don't always have to go in there and you don't always have to dig out copper. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. That was a stupid mistake on my part. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry about that. Looking good, looking great. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little pushing. Let me do a little pushing to see. Whoops. Okay, looks like we could secure this just a little tighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my tip right back in here. I'm going to hold this part down just like this. I'm going to come right in here. Okay, I'm going to let it go. I want to push a little bit more. I just want to make sure I have good contact. Yeah, that's good contact. You see the top moving, but the rest of it doesn't move? Perfect. That's a repaired pin. That is a repaired pin. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more so you guys can see this. Not a big deal. Don't be afraid. Guys, if you're patient and if you work with me, I want to clean this up just a little bit more off camera because I want you guys to really see this. If you work with me and you're just patient, you may think you're getting into some serious pickles. You're not. You're not. I promise you. The idea isn't to say I can solder better than you or I'm better than you because I can solder better than you or just use a wick and a flux. Don't be a prick. Don't be a prick to new people and try to flaunt or showboat or make claims that you're better than other people because for whatever reason you can solder better. That's not the point. The point is that you learn something and you learn to better yourselves. It's not about being arrogant. And I hate that sort of nonsense. And I'm sorry I'm still talking about it, but that just really, really upsets me. Because you know what? Let me just be perfectly honest with you. It's attitudes like that from that guy and phrasing like that. That's what keeps a lot of people away from doing things that they really want to do in life. I mean, that's really what keeps people away from certain hobbies that they'd like to do or certain skills that they'd like to acquire. Because there are people telling them that, you know, for whatever reason, oh, I'm an amateur and I'm better than this. That's just don't, is that what you would call gatekeeping? That is gatekeeping, right? And I'm sorry I called him a cocksucker and a douche lord, but I'm sorry, but and not that there's hell, I might even want to suck cock one day, just not now. Not that that's even an insult, but you know, hell, I like it. Perhaps I don't know. I've not tried it, but if you do, that's fine. But hell, I don't like. It's like I don't like Brussels sprouts. It doesn't mean I don't want you to enjoy them. If there's anything wrong with them. You know, I know I'm a prick, but my goodness, don't try to take. People are so fragile right now. Don't try to take something from somebody else. You know, don't do that. Just don't do that. That infuriates me. Nobody cares if you're better than somebody else at doing something. That's never the point. If I had a soldering class and I had people saying that, a lot of the people probably would never come back because they'd feel bad about themselves. And I want somebody to clip this so that it's not taken out of context. You know? And now he's running to Twitter and he's tweeting about it and he's tagging me in it, that I've done some terrible injustice to him because he was being very polite. There's nothing polite about that. There's nothing polite about trying to almost denigrate the abilities or skills of other people because you can do it better. At any rate, you know, his technique was terrible and he got mad at me. My technique was intentionally terrible. My technique was intentionally terrible. Oh, God, it's like people are looking to pick a fight with me. And I want to come after you. With my penis. I'm just kidding. That could be sexual assault. All right, guys. Do we have any questions about this? Now, you see me pushing on this with my X-Acto knife. We have a nice rigid connection. The pin is perfectly repaired. And ideally, this is the sort of professional job you'd want to see if there was a botched pin. Yeah, I want to be calmed down. Is there any more questions, or is there anything that you guys would like me to talk about concerning pin recovery and reconstituting pins that you break off or that just fall off for whatever reason? We're going to move right along, but I'm kind of glad this happened. Okay, so that was pretty good. Okay, let's keep going. Bob is... Hey, Andy L., that's not cool. Let's not be homophobic, dude. I'm not into that. That's not funny. It's not funny at all. As a matter of fact, somebody take care of Andy L. I don't like that. I don't like that stuff. I don't like that stuff. There's nothing funny about making fun of people who are gay or whatever. Not cool, man. Let's not do that. Okay. Let's zoom in and let's work on this chip. Let's do it right. Let's do it in a sexual way. We're ready. Now, this is the chip that you want to work with. This is the digital signal processor for the drive controller for the CD-ROM. Okay? Let's move in. Let's get it working. Let's do it to it. Bob Fucks Horses. There's nothing wrong with the bestiality jokes, as long as it's not real bestiality. But let's not make jokes about people who, whatever they identify, for their sexual identity or for anything like that. That's not funny. It's not funny at all. I'm sorry if I gave you the impression that I think that stuff's funny, but there's nothing remotely humorous about making fun of that stuff. Okay, so here we go. Okay, just like that. Now, because this is the right chip, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to bend this to the top, bend it straight to the heavens. We're going to bend it straight down and up, and eventually it just comes off just like that. You can do that. You don't have to do that. But if this system is permanently going to be home to a PS1 digital, or I'm sorry, not a PS1 digital, an xStation, it's not a big deal. I'm trying to bring up the instructions here so I get the pins right. Okay, 78, 77, and 74. So let's just count down the line here. 80, 79, 78, 77. Yep, okay. 80 is the one we removed. 79, 78, so right here. Okay. Move it to the side. Sorry, my camera slipped on me a little bit here. Just want to zoom right in there and watch this. Now, we've already liberated this pin. Now, watch what we're going to do. We're just going to take our iron, or we're going to take our dental pick. Watch this. We're just liberating it. We're just lifting it straight up to the heavens. Okay. I'm just going to remove this bad boy like so. We're going to come right down the line here. $80, $79, $78. Okay, we did $80, $78, $77. Now we do $74. $80, $79, $78, $77, $76, $75, $74. Now, the only pin remaining on this side is 56. So we're going to move this all the way over. And we're just taking our dental pick, and we're just going to get under that pin. So we're going to count them off first, as always. Start by counting. 51, 52, 53, and 54 right here. Now I'm going to get under this. Just like this. Just like that. Pin's lifted. Pin's lifted. You don't have to fight with the pin. Just lift it off of its pad. Now watch this. I'm going to take this, and I want to sweep right underneath it. I'm just going to use the tool, and I'm just going to lift it straight up. Straight up. Straight up! And we're just going to bend it back and forth. And that's gone. Now we're going to make sure we don't need to do any pad repairs, or we didn't need any pin repairs. So we've got 80 right here. Done. 78 and 77 is done. 76, 75, and 74 is done. Perfect. We're going to come down here. We should have 56. 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry. Yeah, 54. Great. We get to do another one. We get to do another one. We get to do another one. So we're going to do another pin repair. Actually, to be perfectly honest with you, I did totally do that on purpose. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our unit, because I like doing these, and a lot of people honestly ask me about this, so let's do another one. It's fine. But what we're going to do before we really get into that is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that out. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Right here we go. Same as always. Just like that. By the way, I have to be perfectly honest with you. I can't remember what I was going to say. I really don't remember. But the idea is that the trick here is we did a pin that was on the edge. That's very simple and very easy to get to. But what about techniques that you can use to get a pin that you've pulled inappropriately in the center that's totally removed? Well, we've got a pin right here that we've removed the leg, but we have 2 pins on each adjacent side. How can we get our tip in there to work with this? This is a question I get a whole lot, so this is another opportunity. Perfectly fine. I don't want you guys being afraid of this stuff. Okay, pin's gone. Well, sort of gone. Okay, same deal, same principle. Let me hike this bad boy up. Let's see, is that a... darn it, here we go. Okay, perfect. Tension. Arvelto, are you okay, man? Dude, I'm totally fine. I'm just trying to show people today how to fix things if they make a mistake or if they've done something where they think they've gone too far. That's really the point of today's stream, is to repair things, is to show you guys, don't worry if you make some serious, or what you would perceive as some serious ass mistakes. Now again, we've got our sight right here. Pin 54 we have to reconstitute. 30 odd conductor wire is all that it's going to take. It's all it's going to take. We're just going to take and we're going to strip this out. Strip out about a good inch worth. Maybe 1.5 inches. Well, shoot. Maybe about 1.5 inches worth. Just like that. Now I'm going to take and I'm going to pre-tin this, just as we did before. Just like that. Now I'm sorry if that's a little out of focus, but... Okay. Now we've got maybe about 1/2 inch. Really, that's really about 1/4 inch. But I just want to make sure, is this, first of all, is this in focus? And would this benefit to be zoomed in a little more? Because we're about to do some super micro stuff here. And I really want to show this off. So are we pretty good, or should I get a little closer if I can? Let me know. Good? Okay. I want to try to go in just a little more. Now, we did a pin on the edge. Now we're going to do a pin in the middle. And I really want to talk about this just a little bit more because people ask me all the time, I've got a pin that I broke, either on an SNES, either on a PlayStation, either on a PlayStation 2. This was very problematic during the PlayStation 2 mod chip days. How can I reconstitute this pin? Do I have to have a Dremel? Honestly, guys, 99% of the time, you don't have to do any dremeling to get through the silicone or the ceramic top to recover the pin. You just have to use some common sense. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring my little conductor right into place. Now you guys can still see that bit of exposed pin there, right? It's just right on the edge of the ceramic top here. You can still see that. Okay? Here we go. Watch this. We're going to bring our tool in just like this. Okay, perfect. Whoops, didn't mean to move it. Now we've got that landed. We have our conductor landed beautifully on top of this pin here. Now if you look on top of the pad, now you look, we're centered beautifully. We're centered absolutely, if I can get my hand out of the way, we're centered absolutely beautifully. Now the only thing remaining for us to do is just sort of bend this into position, get some force in there so we can make good contact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'll take my little masturbatory tweezers here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring them in just like this. And I'm going to force this metal, our conductor, against, whoops, there we go, against the side of the chip, the side facing of the chip here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my X-Acto knife. Sorry if my hand's in the way, guys. I'm trying to get everything in the shot. Perfect. Now that's pretty well bent in position, and we've got that conductor. So here is the broken pin, flush with the ceramic top. Here's our conductor. If we don't take our conductor and get it sandwiched against the what's left of the pin, we're never going to have good contact. So it's where we're taking that tool and we're pushing that metal conductor, our 30-aught conductor, against this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to keep that connected. And I'm going to come right in here. I'm going to very carefully sort of make sure everything's in line, which it is. I'm going to take my tip and I'm going to come right into the center, just like this. Just like that. I'm going to let it go. Not quite. Almost. Almost. A little more. Just like that. Now watch. Don't fatigue this too much, but if you want to know if you have good contact, gently move the wire. If the wire stops moving at a particular point, and I believe the wire will stop moving at approximately right about here, you know you've got a connection. Now watch. We've got a connection. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take my snips. I'm going to snip it just like that. That's it. That's all there is to that. That's all there is to that. And I'm going to take my X-Acto knife. I'm going to try to move this to the left and to the right. Okay, looks like we could make a little bit better of a connection. So I'm going to come right in here. I'm going to take my tip. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to hold this in place just like that, and we're going to come right in here. This is really hard to do when the camera's moving. We're just holding our conductor in place, and we're going to make one final contact right here. I'm going to let it go. And watch this. Good contact. Good contact. All set. We'll take some isopropyl alcohol and we'll clean this off. And we're going to take a brush. Just any brush. Encoding overloaded. Uh-oh. Okay, but anyways, guys, look at that. We'll zoom in a little tighter. Oh, okay. Now, as you can see, we've got perfect alignment right here. Our conductor it's nestled perfectly in the middle. We've got a good fillet right here, and we're just moving up the line, and we've got a good connection. That's all it takes. Absolutely fantastic. Good job. Okay, now we're done. I'm not going to do any more pin repairs. How was that? Was that good instruction? Do you feel like I did a decent job explaining how to do pin recovery if you screw up a PS1 xStation install? Was that decent? Nothing will ever be... It's not a big deal. It's nothing that you're going to break indefinitely. I just want to know if you feel like this was good. Do you guys want me to break another pin? I mean, I will. I mean, if you really want me to see me do this again, I'll do another one. If not, we can move on. Was that enough? I think 2's enough. If you want to see a third one, we can do a third one. You think it looks sketch? You don't think this looks... Do you really not think this looks good? Six out of 10? Okay. So, evidently, there are some people here that aren't very... that don't like this. Oh, you're kidding. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's move on. We've done it. Oh, Matthew is too busy complaining about me on Twitter to people who will listen. You know. I was polite. That's what he said. I was polite. I was very polite to him. I didn't see anything polite about what he said. Or what he was trying to do. Okay, guys. 47, 46, and 45. Now let's stop. Let's stop tearing off these Let's stop tearing off these pins. If you guys don't want to see any more, we'll move on. 47, 46, and 45. Very simple. Same business as usual. Let me just clean my tip off here a little bit. Okay. Let's do it. See if we can zoom in just a little bit more. That's pretty good. Now, for some reason, when I do this side of the chip, I can never zoom in closely. As close as I can the other side. I don't understand that. So we're going to be doing pins 47, 46, and 45. Let's just count. 50, 49, 50, 49, 48, 47. Right there's 47. So we're going to apply our heat. And we're going to get our tool into position just like this. And we're just going to get underneath it. Just going to pull it out. Just like that. Use our tool. Just pull the pin up straight like that. Straight to the heavens. Okay? We're going to do 46, sorry. 50, 49, 48, 47. Here's 46, and then we'll do 45, and then we'll be all done. Okay, here we, whoops. Get under the pin just like that. Apply the heat to the pad, not to the pin, and you just lift straight up to the heavens, just like that. Okay, now we're going to take our little dental pick here, and we're just going to make sure all these are lifted up and out of the way. Just like that, nice and easy. Straight up. Just like that. 50, 49, 48. Here are the pins we've lifted. 47, 46, 45. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do, the correct pins, I'm just going to take and I'm just going to lift these straight up to the heavens like so. Take my finger. I don't want these here. I don't want these here. Because I don't like them. Now, you don't have to do this. You really don't have to remove them. I'll tell you what inspired me to do this was the great legendary Dan Kuntz of Citrus 3000 PSI. Dan will take a tool. He will take a tool, and he has video of him just popping the pins out. No desoldering. I'm not that good, and I'm not that brave. Okay, now, all the pins have been removed, all the pins have been accounted for, our little bodges are in place, we're in good shape. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our xStation, right here, I'm going to zoom this way out, okay? We're going to take our case, which is right here, and before I do anything, I'm going to flap this back over. I'm just going to loosely put this back into position. We're going to connect power, and we're going to connect our controller. And I'm going to bring our xStation in place. Now, this isn't permanent. I just want to test this. So here we have our xStation cable. Blue tab always faces up when you connect it. Okay, just like that. That's all it's going to take. Now I'm just going to connect. I am going to connect our PS1. And we're going to move over to the testing. We're going to move over to the testing scene right now. Here we go. Okay, we're going to turn this bad boy on. If I have everything set up correctly. Is audio working for you guys? Can you hear? Oh, my bad. I've got to hold the reset button in, guys. I'm sorry. But can you guys hear audio? You can hear it? Okay, good. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a test. Got to hold the reset button in. I forgot about, not the reset button, the drive door button. The lid switch. Thank you, Zims. Thank you. Good to see you, by the way. Okay, great. I'm going to see if I can take my other hand, and I'm going to see if I can connect a controller. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Options, and I am going to just go ahead and update the firmware for the customer. So I'm going to come right down here, and we're going to do this real quick. And then once we do this, we're going to put it back together, and we're going to load up a game, and we're going to make sure everything's fine. But we just repaired a couple of pins. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. I'm going to have to think twice about making streams where we do intentional botched work and repairs, because evidently there are a couple of people out there who take it entirely the wrong way and want to use it as a means to elevate themselves. You know what? Let's go ahead and let's just load one. Let's just load one. Okay, let's load up Resident Evil 2, my favorite of the Resident Evil series. I don't know, I like Resident Evil 3 pretty good, but I think Dreamcast Resident Evil 2 and 3 are the best games. Love this game. Okay. Okay. Here we go. We're in good shape. We're going to move back over to the lab modding window. Good. Now, xStation works fine. Nothing to do. Everything works perfectly as it should. We'll move this out of the way because we also have to install this bad boy. So we're going to be doing that too. This is by Greg Collins. This is his 3D printed drive. Sort of cavity filler, basically. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to drive some screws back into this bad boy. Perfect. Okay, those are all the screws necessary for the main board. Now we're going to put our shield right back into place. And when you do this, make sure, people make this mistake too, make sure that you feed the flex cable or the FFC cable from the xStation through this little tiny slot right here. That's very important that you try to make sure that that happens. Now we're just going to bring this back into place like so. Push everything down nice and firmly. And we're just going to drive these screws back in to hold the top shield into place. Right here, there's only 3 or 4 to put in. Make sure there's no weird little pieces of material. Okay, so now the xStation. Now the xStation is very simple. This is the fun part. Let me put this together. I want to get this card ready because the Greg Collins mount actually uses a full SD card. Now, I just want to talk about something really quick. If you were to not use, for example, if you were to not use the Greg Collins 3D printed mount, this is what it would look like. You would close, you would button up your PlayStation like so, and you would open it, and this is what you would have. Not a big deal. Perfectly fine. You can access your micro SD card, but it's just an empty cavity. What Greg did was, for the xStation specifically, he designed this beautiful 3D printed full-size SD card mount that installs in place just like so, and when you put the lid on top of it, it looks really good. So what I'm going to do is, because sometimes these are a super tight fit, is I'm just going to sort of come in here and very, very loosely and sort of very carefully turn this upside down. I'm just going to make sure that this is going to fit okay and it's going to clear. Just like that. And it does. It fits beautifully, fits perfectly fine, no problem. So now that I know that this fits and it clears okay, I want to put the shell to the side. I want to put this together. So what I like to do is I take the flex cable and I fold it just like so, so that it just folds 90 and it goes right between these little CD-ROM standoffs, just like this. Okay, so that's pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fold in right there. You don't have to crease it hard, just move it. Just move it around. Now we're going to take the xStation, we're going to just pull that tab out. Okay, and we're just going to pull that in like so. And we're just going to move this, we're going to back this in like this. Just like that. Perfect. Now, here's the fun part. We're going to take the xStation mount. Make sure that power supply is de-energized, by the way. We're going to take that xStation mount, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to plug it in. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to take the xStation off of its little standoffs, and I'm just going to make sure this is in there. Okay. Should fit in there just like that, which it does. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of take this. I'm just going to put a fold in it just like this to fold it down. And I'm going to fold it, and I'm going to bring this ribbon cable up and through the bottom so that it lives just like this. I want the ribbon cable to ultimately live. I want it to go under and forward, or under and back. This will take a lot of the pressure, or a lot of the upward forces that are exercised on it because of these cables. It'll take it off of the xStation's SD card mount. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in place. Now this is what you should have. Something very similar to this. Now what I'm going to do is I want to put the lid on top. Okay, just like so. Now I'm going to make sure that this lines up properly. Now you may have to manipulate this a little bit. Sort of make sure everything sort of goes into where it's supposed to go. Okay, just like that, just like that. It can be kind of tricky. This part might be kind of tough because not everything always wants to fit in properly. So what you try to mess with it for a couple of seconds and try to sort of move and articulate things around so that hopefully they'll go into where they need to go. But ultimately what you can do is you can just lift this up. What I like to do is I like to seat it. I like to pick the case up, the shell up, and I like to seat the SD card panel first. The Greg's part, I like to seat it first. And while I'm holding it up, you guys can't really see this too well, as I'm holding it up, I just kind of seat that down just like that, and then you've got a nice alignment. Now, that is a much nicer finish than just having this empty cavity here. It's only like 25 or 30 bucks. It's really worth it. This mount is really, really worth it. And also, Greg, I believe, has released the files online, so you can print one for yourself. Really nice. We're going to go ahead and test it to make sure everything works okay. And then we're going to zip the screws back in it, and we're going to test it again. Okay, put that right in there like that. Now, if I get to the main menu, I know I'm in good shape. Okay. That could have been maybe because I don't have the screws in here I don't have the screws in here tightly. So the door switch might not have been actuated properly. So I'm going to push it in manually. Yeah, that's what it is. Also, another fun little pro tip, if you're testing a PlayStation and you put the top back on, but you don't screw the top and bottoms back together, you may not have enough pressure on that limit switch for the door opening and closing actuation unit. Works perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I'm going to disconnect this. We're going to go back to lab modding. Thank you, by the way, for the follow. I keep this upside down, and we're just going to drive these screws right back in here. Sorry if this is off camera a little bit, guys. But once I do this, we'll load it up. We'll load up a game or two. We'll put this to the side. And we'll have a good time. Nice and easy. One more. There we go. Okay. Check this out. That's really nice, isn't it? Really nice. It looks really good. It's a nice fit and finish. I really enjoy Greg's work. He's really, really good. We're just going to move this to the side, and I'm also using HD Retrovision component cables that are being piped into a RetroTink 5 6X, excuse me. But we're going to close the lid on this bad boy, and we're going to move, and we're going to turn this on, and we're going to give it one good test. Thank you for the follow. Now we've updated the firmware, so the customer doesn't have to worry about that. So that's all set for them. They're ready to go with the latest firmware. And let's see, let's try. What would you guys like to see? Resident Evil 2 or Tobal 2? It's up to you. I'll let you guys decide. Tobal 2 or Resident Evil 2. Yeah, a lot of people like Tobal. Okay, we'll do Tobal 2. Translated. And that's going to load Tobal up. And we're going to try it. Tobal, by the way, is a 480i game. Frogs, that's a really good question. I don't have a solid answer. Try Smoke Monster. He might be able to help you. Oh, thank you for the super chat, the Afro Man. Unfortunately, the VGA mod, if you're talking about the Hackaday article, that's not really VGA. That's just RGB 15 kilohertz video, and they're calling it VGA when it's not. Sorry. Really, there's no 31 kilohertz VGA mod for the PlayStation 1 currently. Now, this is a 480i game, and it looks quite good. Thank you for the super chat once again, my friend. Thank you.
Ready? Fight!
I'm not good at this game. I'm not. Oh, damn it. Let me see if I can still do my... Yeah! Alright, do the karate move. Do the flip! I can't do the... How do you do the... I don't remember. Man, I'm such a master. I need to start going to New York and playing with all those guys like Beast and showing those bitches what's up. That I'm the best. I'm the best. Ooh, look at my moves. Ooh, you can't handle it. Oh, God, come here, baby. Ooh, I've got it. I've got it where you need it. Ooh. Oh. Honestly, to be perfectly honest with you, I'll just say this. I think that Square's fighting games, Toe Ball and Toe Ball 2, exceed the quality of Virtua Fighter for the era in which that they were played. Or they were created, not they were played. Well, I guess then they were played too.
はい、次次。Ready? Fight!
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go. Oh man, he missed. He got me. Oh man, he's beating me. He's. Damn it, Bob! Stop calling me. Oh! What?
Ready? Fight!
I'm trying to use my heavy attacks. Yeah, there we go. Come on, do a round kick. Round kick. Round kick. Hey, no, 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 get off. No, no. Oh, no. You're not taking me out, Miriam. I got you now. Oh, no, he reversed it. Oh, no, I've got to do something. Man, I got destroyed. Now, I think if we hold reset, it'll take us back to the menu. Now, here's a couple of cool things that people ask me about, and I might as well take the opportunity to talk about it. You can set some options up. You can have it set to where the xStation will always load back into the game list upon a power on or reset, or you can set it to where the xStation will always load back to the last game that you loaded. And you can always get back to the menu, I think, by holding reset. Oh, Anthony, thank you very much. Sketch loves French. Oh, okay. Wonderful. Thank you for telling me that. I'll remember that in the future. So what we can do is we can do an option on Resident Evil 2. And we can change the reboot. The reboot, when you power cycle the system, it returns to the last game. So you can do all this fun stuff, save and exit, and we can do a fast load of Resident Evil 2. Thank you. Thank you, Twerculosis. I know. That was a miserable fight. But it's super fast. Now we're going to turn it off. It's off. We've got it turned off. We're going to turn it on, and it should load right into Resident Evil 2. No problems. Let's give it a shot. Should go straight to Resident Evil 2. I love Resident Evil 2. And that's it. That's it. So now when we want to get back to the menu, I think what we do is we hold reset. And I think that overrides some sort of IPL or something like that. I think it's reset. And we hold reset down, and then we do this. I could be wrong. I don't remember. You know, Derek, I have to say, because you don't have the seek times and you don't have the laser moving across the sled as much, the xStation can be quite a bit faster than a true optical media on a nicely tuned laser. See, now we hold reset and we're back to the menu. Well, guys, I hope this was a fun stream. I hope everybody had a good time. I'm sorry about that. I was going through the scenes. I just wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to show some serious mistakes and show some serious ways that one could remedy poor technique. Not everyone's going to have perfect technique. Some people might not have a good technique for many months or maybe even a couple of years of serious work. So I thought that it was more important, or I'm thinking that it's more important to show people how to really correct their mistakes than to just flawlessly solder all day long. I talked to Bob about this quite a bit a while back, and he thought that was a pretty good move. I'm sorry I lost it earlier on that guy, but I just want people to come into this hobby without being gatekeeped, without being made to feel like shit because other people claim to be amateurs and can do it so much better. That's not the point of any of this. The point is not to be better than me, to be better than anybody. The point is for you to be better than what you were yesterday. And I'm just trying to help you guys do this. You know, I hope you guys had fun. This guy's evidently created a big hate campaign against me on Twitter. That's wonderful. But I'm not going to tolerate that. I will not tolerate that, period. Criticize whatever you want to legitimately. That's fine. That's how we learn. But don't come in here saying nonsense like that or you're going to get banned every time. Thank you, guys. I hope the pin fixing was good. I hope the resistor restore was good. I hope the bridging technique, that's a big one too. I hope that you guys, if you don't have any solder wick, I hope that helps you. Or if you have a little bridge and you have no solder wick, I hope that technique, the sweeping technique, helps you in clearing those. Thank you guys so much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll do this again soon. Thank you very much. Until next time.